Oh, thank you, Epic, for the invitation to this talk about middle wave infrared technologies, and I will elaborate on laser component contribution to these technologies. And as you have said, I will focus my talk on new uncooled pyrometric detector modules for broadband mid-infrared spectroscopy. But first, before we go into the details of the product we have made, I would like to have a look at the various technologies available in the middle wave infrared. Famous graph which depicts the detectivity of various detectors. So it's a factor of merit for detectors. Yes, as a function of wavelengths, and the wavelengths of interest for in the frame of this talk is between 2 and 20 micron around. So there are different types of detector in this range. There are the quantum detectors, which have been mentioned already during this session. You have in-gas detectors for the Square band until 2.6 microns. You have indium arsenide, indium antimonide detectors for the band between 1 up to 5 microns. And also you have um, lead salt detector and lead selenium detectors that you can see here in red for the same wavelength bands, which is actually very important for gas analysis between 1 and 5 micron. And then for longer wavelengths, MCTs are very popular for measuring up to 15 micron and even 18 microns. So that's quantum sensing detectors, and those quantum sensing detectors actually have a high detectivity, but are limited in bandwidth to their area of excellence. So SWIR are the beginning of the 1 to 5 microns and so on. There are a second type of detector, DLA-TGS and LTO, pyrometric detectors. They are heat detectors, which are essentially broadband over the whole wavelength range, because they actually detect indirectly photons by the heat which is generated on an absorber. And you have also thermopile, which is a similar type of detector, which is also broadband. So these detectors have an advantage of the broadband operation, but clearly the detectivity is lower. On the other hand, for quantum detectors, most of the time you have to cool them pretty hard in order to obtain good detectivity. For example, MCTs have to be cooled up to minus 200 degrees. So all in all, there are pros and cons for various type of materials. And I would like to highlight two materials that I think are of key interest for middle wave infrared. The first one is a quantum detector, which is lead salt, lead selenium. And why are lead salt detectors important? Because of the wavelength range between 1 and 5 micron, which covers key absorption bands of important gases, and also because there is room temperature operation. And room temperature operation is a key asset if you want, for example, to do portable devices. Also, the responsivity of lead salt detectors is quite high, 10 to the 11th joules at room temperature, and you can triple this detectivity if you cool it relatively smoothly at minus 50 degrees. So this technology has an outstanding price to performance ratio. And I wanted to underline that in the frame of this talk. Also, large area are possible, 10 by 10 millimeters. And we are one of the few manufacturers in the world able to deliver such such kind of products. Now, the second technology I would like to highlight is pyroelectric detectors, and there are two pyroelectric crystals, DLATGS on one hand, which is the pyroelectric crystal which has the highest pyroelectric coefficient. However, there is a long list of drawbacks of DLATGS: temperature range, moisture sensitivity, linearity, which is not so nice, and dipoling effects that can affect the sensitivity of the crystal. Therefore, at least we privilege another crystal which has a lower pyroelectric coefficient, but which we process with what we call advanced ultra synth detectors. And as you can see, we reach a detectivity which is very near to the one you can get from DLATGS. And on the other hand, temperature range is much better. Moisture doesn't exist, moisture sensitivity. It is linear over 4 decades, and there is no deep polling. So therefore, we have produced new products with this material, which is called lithium tantalate pyroelectric. So a first detector we made is 2 by 2 millimeter square. It is ultra thin at 6 microns when compared to standard devices, which are 20 micrometers thick. It has a nanostructured metal black absorber, which is patented. The uniformity on the active area is pretty good, 10%. We have 4 decades of linearity, and there is a low temperature coefficient. So all in all, this allows us to do a very nice and easy to use detector module, large bandwidth, with the speed of this detector is typically in the kilohertz range, but 8 kilohertz is already a very good result. The D star is quite high for the this type of detector, and the noise equivalent power is also quite good. And we made a second type of second optimization of our readout electronic, low noise readout electronic, made with our partner company Wired Sense from Hamburg in Germany. We have a 50 kilohertz bandwidth and a smaller, a lower D star as a compromise for the larger bandwidth. So this is the first product we have released on LTO pyroelectric detectors. The second one is even more innovative. It is a quadrant photodiode, which sensitive area is 2 millimeter in diameter, and which has a 40 micron gap between the 4 different channels. So this type of detector enables a user to center a beam in the center of the sensitive area. The thickness of this detector is again we have an excellent uniformity that you can see on the on the graph on the right hand side, where you can hardly see the difference between the 4 channels. And we have a bandwidth of 50 kilohertz again, and a D star that is at the required level. And this very good level is due to our specific process of ultra-synth detector and metal black absorber. So application of this detector, we see it in real-time monitoring and also tool for laser development. So now to conclude, I would like to highlight one use case of this type of detectors, room temperature Fourier transform interferometer that we have built, and this work was published in Optics Express of December 2024. We have used one of our LTO detector, what we call PR number 1 or PR number 2. together with a compensated beam splitter from company Omega and a ceramic power-coated thermal source from company Infrasolid from Dresden, Germany. And the characteristic of this room temperature Fourier transform interferometer are pretty good. The spectral band is as large as from 1.6 to 31 micron with only one single detector. The resolution is below 1.5 centimeter minus 1 over the entire wavelength range. The signal to noise ratio is 23 dB. And last but not least, the power consumption is as low as 1.3 watts because none of the component is cooled. And therefore, you can think of using this concept for portable devices. So that is one example. I had a second example, but conscious of time, I think I will switch it I will go directly to the conclusion. Just to say that, first of all, I have highlighted to you the interest of Litsol technologies for middle wave infrared, which is an excellent material for a very good price to performance ratio. Second, I have shown you a new process on pyroelectric lithium tantalate chips that enables us to produce new infrared modules. And those infrared modules are a key element for an easy implementation of Fourier transform interferometer, where today it's probably not used because of the complexity of the technology and also because of the cost of this technology for the everyday users. So, and last but not least, we mentioned a quadrant photodetector in the middle wave infrared, which is a very original detector, which will certainly drive new applications. And I'm at the end of the talk. Thank you very much for your attention. And I am looking forward to hearing your questions.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for the presentation. So we have time for questions. I can perhaps start with the epic question. So we ask to the speakers what can they do for the others, but also what can the others do for you? So how can the Photonics community collaborate with laser components?
I think the first thing is to find use cases for example, for the quad detector, because this is a pretty new detector, which is which looks for a new application. People would be interested to use it. And the other point is low cost. Low cost uncooled Fourier transform interferometers. People wanting to work in this area are of great interest for laser components.
We have a question from Christophe.
One of the problems with the pyroelectric detectors, I'm not sure whether it was mentioned here, it's their sensitivity to vibrations. They are having those membranes and vibrations disturb them. Can you say something about this sensitivity?
Yes, you are right. It's definitely something you have to address when you're working with pyroelectric detectors. Most of the people who are used to work with those technology are able to deal with that. But you have to be careful in the development of those detectors in order to avoid additional ultrasonic noise, actually. And there are a certain number of development tricks to avoid that. That's all I can say. It's similar, and that's why it's difficult to replace one design by another. So if you want to work with, for example, LTO detectors, you cannot just replace an existing design that you have, for example, developed for DLA TGS. I have had this issue with one of my customers.
Yes, I think the pyroelectric detectors are very, very nice technology. If it's not a vibration and the speed limitation is the speed, then they are excellent in this performance to price ratio. And if someone's application do not allow to use them, then photon detectors, semiconductor ones, are better technology.
Yes, and there are also, as I mentioned, if you want a broadband detector, pyroelectric have an interest. And as I said, the sensitivity to vibration is clear, but you can counter it to some extent.